Hello everyone, this is Genius Yoshi, and today we are building an Alice and Pete deck. Why Alice and Pete? Well, they both have enchanted rares, and I think they kind of work well together. Let's start with Pete, the bad guy. So Pete, bad guy, 3/4 ward, quest for 2. It's alright, Has ward, pretty solid ability. Then 2 extra abilities. Take that, whenever you play an action, he gets +2 power, and whenever he has 7 or more power, he's suddenly a 4 quester. So if we play Pete with a bunch of cantrips or actions that allow you to draw 1 card so they replace themselves, you can trigger Take That, and suddenly Pete can quest for 4 or just be a big challenger because he now has at least 7 power. Or even just with 1 action he becomes a 5/4 on the offense, which is pretty good to take out a lot of threats. But to activate his second ability, you don't need to use the actions to trigger his combat increase. You can also use Alice in Wonderland, so the Growing Girl. A 1/4 gives all your other characters support, which means that when they quest, they can give their power to Pete, and suddenly Pete can reach his high power threshold and quest for 4. And when Pete quests, he can then pass in his power to Alice, and once Alice has 10 power or more, she can quest for 4 more. So suddenly, if you have a large enough board, by using Alice's Everyone Has Support, you can get Pete to quest for 4 and Alice to quest for 5. That's 9 lore out of 2 characters, plus whatever lore you've gotten out of the other ones. The combo seems quite appealing. Alright. So what else can we play that synergizes with these cards? Well, I've already mentioned we kind of want the cantrips, which are Develop Your Brain, just look at the top 2 cards, put 1 in your hand, Nothing to Hide, draw a card, and look at your opponent's hand, and Improvise, draw a card, and give one of your characters +1 power, which also goes with the type of synergies we want to do. Okay, so we're in Emerald and Sapphire, and we're playing Power Matters, Action Matters. Are there any more of these types of cards? There's not that many of them, but there are some. So there is Power Matters with the little infernal imps there. We have Pain, Underworld Imp, 1/4, so solid defensive stats, and if he has 5 or more power, suddenly he quests for 3, which is very good for a 2-drop, if you can get him there. But with Alice, you can get Pain up there quite easily. And there's also his, I'm not sure, they're brother. Anyways, they're always together, Panic and Pain. The other Underworld Imp, a 2/3 quest for 2. It's alright stats. Whenever you play him, you give another character +2 this turn. And if that's Pain, he gets a +4 to hit that threshold. So they're really made for each other. You go Pain on turn 2, Panic on turn 3, quest with Pain, and suddenly you've gotten 3 lore off of your 2-drop, and you have 2 reasonable bodies on the battlefield. So Panic and Pain go pretty well hand in hand. And since we're already playing all these cantrips, let's look at the flip side. So the Power Matters, there's pretty much only Pain that matters, as well as Pete and Alice. But in terms of playing multiple cheap spells, there's another card where that matters, which is Mickey Mouse Artful Rogue. Whenever you play an action, shows an opponent character can quest during their turn. We've tried to build the deck around the Artful Rogue earlier with the first chapter, but now we have redundancy, with Pete having a similar ability. So now's the time to try it out in the deck with the spells matter. I mean, we're already playing the 12 cantrips. But Mickey Mouse Artful Rogue is quite expensive as a 7-drop uninkable. So we're going to need some ramp, and we're going to need some shifting targets. Because he shifts 5, it's our advantage to be playing some Mickey Mouses, so we'll be playing 4 of the Detective and 3 of the Steamboat Pilot to help either just ramp to it or shift the big Mickey on the battlefield. Keeping up with the team of ramp, let's also add in a full play set of Gramma Talas, because we do need to fill in our 2-drop slots. And we're going to need a bit of removal, to make this deck work. So let's go 2 copies of Hades. We're already playing 4 copies of Mickey, so I don't want too many uninkable 7-drops. And we should be playing Let It Go. It's removal, it's an action, it can be sung. I think it deserves an inclusion. Now we have a full 16 actions in our deck that we can cast cheaply. Now we want 5 or 6 drops to be able to sing Let It Go. Keeping up with the disruption, I think we're going to go with some John Silvers. It's not hard removal, but it helps. And in terms of 5 drops, Cusco's fantastic, but I don't think we can push more uninkables. Outside of that, Jasmine doesn't have enough power for what I want. Because with Alice, I really want to quest with my characters and ideally keep them alive. So I think this is a chance for Ray to shine, being a Firefly and all. Because Ray can quest, has 3 power, gain 2 lore, pump up one of your characters with 3, which is pretty nice, and he can't really be challenged back because he's evasive. In a similar way, we do have more evasives in Emerald. We're going to be playing 2 copies of Red again, and 2 copies of Tinkerbell. So Ratigan is fantastic for his 4 power. When he quests, gain your 2 lore, and pump up Pain up to the 5 power threshold. Bam! You can quest for 3, assuming you have Alice in play. Or just pumping Alice for 4 is quite desirable. The problem is his 1 willpower. So if you're playing against Steel, you're better to ink your Ratigan, because Steel just has too many pings for 1s with Tinkerbell, Grab Your Sword, Fire the Cannon, Hans. I mean, the list is pretty long. So in these cases, you ink your Ratigan, you play your Tinkerbell, and in other matchups where they can't ping you for 1 easily, Ratigan is more desirable. So I'm going to go with a 2-2 split on these cards. Alright, so we're at 59 cards. Actually, looking back on our list, we have 7-drop inkables, non-inkables. Maybe we take out 1 Panic. So we have 2 copies of another card. And I do like Mother Knows Best, so I'm going to include it. I know I've just taken an uninkable to make space for it, but since it's another spell that can be cast for essentially free if you can sing it, and we have a plethora of 3-drops with Panic, Alice, Mickey, and our evasives can also sing it, gives us a bit more removal options. So we have the 80s, Let It Go, Mother Knows Best type of line with the John Silvers. Should help us to stay alive and take out some of the opponent's threats, allowing us to get our Pete Alice combo in play, or our Panic Pain, Alice, Pete. Basically just get all of our synergies on the battlefield and try to win the game. So all that remains is to see if this is coherent when we put it in action in some games. So let's go right out and play those games. Let's see what Pete can do. Nothing to Hide, Mickey Mouse Improvise, Ratigan, Alice, John Silver, and Big Mouse. Alright, so we have the small into the Big Mouse on the draw with some inkable and some cantrips. I like that. Kind of wish we had a 2-drop, especially going second. But we'll see. Our opponent has nothing they can hide. Drawing a second copy means we're going to play 1 right away. Get as much information as we can. Opponent has a pair of Whole New Worlds, Robin, Cat, Raging Fire, and Beast. Most important to know that the opponent has the pair of Whole New World. Nothing to Hide, giving us quite useful information here. We find the Pete. Well, Nothing to Hide is not as useful anymore. Just going to ink the second one and just pass the turn back. I'm on first chapter. Cheshire Cat comes in. Now we draw the Gramma Tala. As soon as we don't really need her anymore. Oh, we're gonna ink Gramma Tala. We go with Big Ben Mickey. That should keep Robin Hood from questing at the very least. Finally, there it is, nothing to hide. One of our cantrips. Opponent plays a 4-drop beast, which really just pings for 1 whenever it enters the battlefield. Red again is trashed here because our opponent has Robin. They can just kill it in the blink of an eye. I'll take the opportunity to resolve an Alice. I think we'll just pass the turn here. Nothing much. Opponent can hardcast a whole new world. Ooh. Or shift the Cheshire Cat and then sing a whole new world. That could be bad. You can also just tap to kill our Mickey, which isn't great either. Oh, Robin pings Alice. And the cat takes her out. Ouch. Cheshire Cat from the shadows. Alright, well here, I think we want to do a similar trick. Gonna ink, nothing to hide. We know our opponent is holding boat a whole new world. Can shift the big mouse and sing Let It Go. And we're gonna send that Cheshire Cat to the ink. And Beast can't quest. I mean, Beast is going to challenge and Robin's going to ping to that. But hey, we're not that bad off. Opponent's going to whole new world. On the bright side, it's going to have to be hard casted. Then we'll trade with Beast, take the Robin, and we'll take initiatives off of a whole new world. There it is. But we gotta make use of Big Mickey. The Artful Rogue. We have a pair of pain, so we're gonna ink one. Now a Cheshire Cat Robin. What do we do? I kind of want to play Pete. I'm tempted to just drop a John Silver and force that Cheshire Cat to combat. But I think I need a bit more ink. Although forcing the Cheshire Cat to combat does seem quite funny. And we'll go with Mickey and Pain. That way we enable ourselves to shift to bigger Mickey next turn if we want to. And we get an extra ink, because we do need to catch up to the amount of ink our opponent has. So they're resolving a bunch of things. And a Relentless Beast comes in. That is a scary card that I cannot get rid of. Especially since we've seen our opponent does want to have some of these single target ping abilities, like Robin Hood can actually ping Beast. So what do we do? Well, we want to play Pete and Alice mostly for the combo. But John Silver forcing a Cheshire Cat to challenge seems nice, although Beast is just going to take the challenge. Well, if we get the double pain on the battlefield, that's 3, 6, plus 4, plus 5. It's a lot of ink. Pain's going to hit the ink pile. We're going to resolve Pete and Alice. Just start setting up. Don't really have a good shot at any of our opponent's characters, so let's just try to race. Let's pull out our combo. Assuming the opponent doesn't have too much removal in hand. It's another Relentless Beast. Oof. That has gotta hurt. I don't think we're winning this one, but we're gonna do our best to try. Well, with a shift in Mickey Mouse, we can at least stop these beasts from questing. Or you can even stop the Cheshire Cats from questing. Improvise, alright. So here we can shift the Mickey, play both cantrips, get Pete all boosted up, prevent half of our opponent's board from questing. Seems pretty good. Let's start with that. Shift. Alright. We'll probably want to challenge that Robin Hood. Or do we just quest? We have a lot of questing power and we can boost our characters. Improvise. Targeting Pete. We draw the red again. Alright. Well, I don't want the cats to quest, I think. Red again will go to ink. Fill up your brain. Pick up a nothing to hide. Continuing with the cantripping. Nothing to hide. We see our opponent's hand. Another whole new world, pair of beasts. And now this beast cannot quest. Pete has 10 power, so he can boost Alice by himself. We'll want to power up Pain. And that Mickey can do either. Quest or challenge. So Pete will quest. Questing for 4. Supporting Pain. Pain will quest for 3. Supporting Alice. Alice will quest for 5. We're at 12. Wombo combo. And now, another problem is that the beasts are just going to go to town on our characters. So I think Mickey just quests 14. And we'll pass the turn. That is one big questing turn. Also, our opponent can't quest and win the game on that turn, thanks to Mickey Mouse's ability. We've gotten the synergies. We've gotten Pete doing his thing, getting to a high power. But it doesn't really matter because the Relentless Beasts are relentlessly going to go and wipe out our board. And that other Relentless Beast can keep on questing. Ooh, and Tinkerbell. Double ping. Beast Relentless. By itself, just out comboing whatever cool stuff we've been doing. And why not? If I prevent 3 of your characters from questing, you just have to leave the other beast quest 4 times in one turn. There's no problem there, Genius Yoshi. That was an epic situation combo-wise. Our deck came out and did what it was supposed to do, but it just wasn't enough. Let's see if winning is a piece of cake with this deck. Gramma, Tala, Alice, Improvise, Panic and Pain combo. I don't really want the Hades this early, so I'll send it back. Finding an inkable high drop instead. That's pretty good. Probably want to go with the Pain Panic combo, so I don't think I'll need the Gramma Tala. I'll still start by inking the John. And I'll pass turn back. Let it go. More interesting, but not for now. So we'll want to put the pain on our opponent, the Underworld Imp. That's going to quest for 3 as a 2-drop with a lot of toughness. That's pretty good, thanks to the power of Panic. The opponent plays Cinderella. Cinderella can't take out Pain. Though we do have another nice option for a 3-drop with Mickey Mouse. I do like the stats that we get from just having Panic and Pain on the field. So let's sink our Improvise for now. Panic, Pump, Pain. Giving it +4 power. So Sunleap can quest for 2. 2 more, so 3. And we're off to the races. 3-0. Genius Yoshi against a Cinderella. Opponent is playing some steel cards, so we do have to be wary about pings for Mr. Ratigan over here. I'd really like to play Ratigan, but I don't think I can afford it. Ooh, Cheshire Cat. That is a nice tech. We find another Gramma Tala. Now if we can use Alice to pump that Pain up, we'd be in pretty good shape. Problem is, the only way we do that is with Ratigan in play. I don't think our opponent's going to Tinkerbell next turn, so maybe we go for it. Maybe we just play the Ratigan. Quested Panic, who trades really well with our opponent's characters. Pass the turn back. Hopefully I'm not going to regret this. Just leave my big evasive rat on the battlefield. All I'm asking for. And also leave Pain, otherwise it's not going to work. Trying to think of everything that can ping for 1. Well, there's Fire to Cannon and Smash, but these are more valuable removal spells. Opponent goes to Smash Pain for some very weird reason. Alright, I don't understand this. But I'm going to ink an Alice, play an Alice, which does allow me for the Wombo combo. It's Wonderland time, as Alice allows me to give Ratigan support. Supporting Pain, so Pain becomes 5 power after Ratigan quests for 2, Pain quests for 3, and he can give all his power back to Alice, which doesn't really matter at this point. It's a quest for 5, everybody. And that was the goal. And now, Pain's a bit of a sitting duck to the Cinderellas. Then again, we're at the point where the opponent can shift the big Cinderella, which does come to hit us. Oh well. Pain's done its job. It quested for 6. Then we have the perfect answer to Cinderella anyways. With Let It Go, let it go. I don't care about your resistance. Resistance is futile. Opponent does get 2 points of ink because there were 2 Cinderellas in that stack. Ratigan will quest. bringing Alice much higher, but not quite high enough to do her massive quest. We need 10 power. Red again gives +4. Cheshire Cat is worrisome. That means our opponent wants to ping us. So even though it's 12-0, maybe our opponent's ahead here. Mother knows best. Alright, opponent really wanted Alice to go off the board. Gonna play Mickey, ink a card. Do you want to cycle Improvise here? Well, let's leave it. We have a bad trade with Cinderella right now. With Mickey, so maybe the opponent is going to cast a whole new world. I was going to say maybe the opponent is going to quest, and then we get a good challenge with Mickey Mouse, boosted with a little bit of improvisation. Improvise allowing us to get +1 power for the turn. But it wasn't in the cards, as the opponent decided to just give us a whole bunch more. But what did we find? We have another red again, which I should probably send to the ink. The opponent must have something that's going to ping me at this point. Have a Hades, we have a couple of cantrips, Pain again, Mickey, and we're down 2 Alice's. Ray's quite bothersome for that steel foe, so we'll probably want to play that. Alright, so red again, we said we're not going to be playing, so send it to the ink pile. Then we can go 2 + 5. There's no real good reason to go with Hades here. Yeah, 2 + 5, 7. Ink efficient. Don't have a good target for Mother Knows Best. Not a big fan of questing with Mickey here. I'm expecting Tinkerbell to get shifted if I quest. And then taking out Mickey allows the opponent to take out Ray with Tinkerbell. I really don't like that exchange. Worst thing is probably shifted Tinkerbell into a grab your sword, which would take out Ray. But I'm not going to make it easy on you. Mother Knows Best. Okay. It's a bounce-a-thon going on here. Captain to the ink. Opponent is emptying their hands like there's no tomorrow. So I'm almost willing to bet that that last card is another whole new world. So then what do we do about it? Oh, we want to play some stuff in ink. We can go to 8. Probably want to Mother Knows Best something. Probably that Tinkerbell over here, since we can't target Pete. So let's start with that. Mickey's gonna sing Mother Knows Best, bouncing Tink. Pain can quest for 1, not the best. Trading one of these characters for 1 ink doesn't seem to be favorable for us. We could check with nothing to hide, but I'm fairly confident. So we're gonna send our Improvise to the ink. Simply go Mickey Ray. Developing our board. Let's see if we're right. So now the opponent has Tinkerbell, top deck of the turn, and potentially a whole new world from last turn. Which Pete can sing. 3/4 ward. I should highlight Pete. 3/4 ward. Whenever you play an action, he gets +2 power during this turn whenever he has 7 or more combat power. Gets +2 lore. Opponent had double Tink and a hook. Alright, I expected more stuff out of our opponent. We can quest for 6. Start with the draw spell. Develop your brain. Find under Hades and Panic. So with Panic we can pump Pain. Then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, Panic for the win. Pump up Pain. And quest for game. That was worth to develop your brain. Let's see what we can do this game. Mother knows best. Ratigan, Mickey, Pete. Hades, let it go, Mickey. Too many uninkables. Other than that, we need to make some space for some earlier drops. One Mickey's nice. Mickey, Pete, let it go. We found 3 Mickey Mouse detectives. Thankfully we're going first, which is going to help a lot. So maybe we just ramp. Ramp and Pete. We'll keep develop your brain for now. Cheshire Cat. Then Robin Hood. Alright, we find a Pain, but it's a little too late. Do have Alice and Pete. And sacrifice to develop your brain at this point. Start getting some ink. Not quite ready to part ways with Let It Go just yet. Alright, opponent inks Tinkerbell, just goes to quest with small fries. And resolve a small Tinkerbell. Find another Mickey. It's a very heavy Mickey hand. So we're gonna ink Pain, I think. I think we have to start getting rid of some of these Mickeys. Trading them for ink. So play Mickey. Then what do I go next turn? Feels like next turn I want to go Alice Mickey, followed by Pete. But I might need that Let It Go. If the opponent shifts to Tinkerbell, I'm really going to need it. I think I have to just let go of Pain. But then I'm single spelling this turn. No, I have to get rid of the Let It Go. I'm going to get in trouble for this. But I just really wanted that little Underworld Imp on my side of the battlefield, ready to get pumped. We need to resolve Pete and Alice. I mean, we are ahead on ink significantly. And we still have another Mickey to play. Tinkerbell's ability gets triggered. Draw, discard. A little bit of card cycling. Most forms of cycling are good for you. Cycling is good for the environment, cycling is good for your heart, and cycling cards is good for, well, card selection, I guess. You know you're drawing too many Mickeys when you're talking about cycling. Opponent decides to smash Pain with a pink Robin Hood. A little bit of extra help there. And we find more sources of ink. Alright. Do I want Gramma Tala as a card? Not particularly. I'm gonna keep it anyways. With an Alice, you never know. Let's keep the surprise for next turn. Next turn we can go Alice and Pete. If we draw an Inkable. If I would have kept the Gramma Tala, I could have secured the Alice and Pete and kept whatever I'm top decking. Because if it's a good card, I'll be tempted to just keep it. Opponent is doing more card selection. Benja. Ready to melt some popsicles. Ooh, and there's a big beast coming down. Alright, alright. Opponent, I'll concede the card advantage your way. Opponent pings our Gramma Tala. That's good. That means we will have enough ink for Pete and Alice. And we've saved ourselves one more. Alright, there goes Alice. And there goes Pete. And then we can use Alice's ability. That simply gives everyone support. So the Mickeys are going to support each other. And give 3 power to Big Mickey over here, who's going to go after Robin Hood and say, I know you've been doing some good, but the Detectives Alliance has decided that you have to be taken out. Opponent draws 2 off of the Beast's ability. Now we need to start chaining some cantrips. Some draw 1 type of spells. So we can get both Pete and Alice ready for combat. Ooh, that's going to hurt. Shifted Tinkerbell came in. She gets to take out 2 Mickeys. Or grab your sword. I think our opponent should have taken out a Mickey and pinged Alice for 2 off of Tinkerbell before to grab your sword. Or the opponent just has pings for days with Let the Storm Rage On. Oh, steal. Too many pings. Develop your brain. Alright. Find another Develop Your Brain. I'll play it. Find another Pete. Pete's good. And we get the quest for 4. Or a 7-powered character. I think we have to take down the beast, right? Otherwise we just lose the card advantage. Ugh. Disappointing. And we'll resolve another one. Pete, but not at his finest. Just being a bad guy. Stopping our opponent from drawing cards. And we know our opponent loves drawing cards, so really being a bad guy. Tinkerbell quests. A smaller version of Tinkerbell comes in. This is problematic. Let's go Alice, Gramma Tala, and hope for some pretty good draws. Even pretty good draws probably doesn't beat these 3 unknown cards. One Storm Rage on. Damage draw. The opponent's still on 5 ink. They've been playing their cards instead of inking. Lots of Robins too. So that's what Tinkerbell's been doing, just cycling through these Robin Hoods. Yeah. Another copy of Grab Your Swords. Devastates our side of the board. Find Pain, which is really what we're feeling right now. And we can't take out anything. Questing wouldn't feel too good because their opponent could just trade Captain Hook for Pete. Yeah, we don't want that. I'd say we're in big trouble now. We need Hades? Even that's not good enough. John Silver. Okay. It's a nice draw. But is it nice enough? Tinkerbell, you have to challenge. And opponent will still quest for quite a bit. At least now we do have a beater. Come on, top deck, be prepared. That's what we're hoping for, right? We'll give it one more top deck, but honestly, I can't think of a card that saves us from this situation, as the opponent keeps letting the Storm Rage on, and it really does. It rages, and then they go and grab their swords, and then the Storm rages, and then they go and grab their swords, because that's what Steel's doing. Swords and Storms. Opponent doesn't know what to target. Well, we don't have anything worth targeting. Oh, John's good. Another one. Opponent just wanted to completely take out Pain. We got a quest with whatever they can. And I don't think Hades is good enough. And I think it's about the best draw we have. Yep, it's time to panic. Gonna pump up that Pete. Go to quest. Force that Tinkerbell to challenge and concede the game. Just wasn't quite enough in the face of too much removal, too much damage, and Pete and Alice just didn't quite get to do their thing. Let's see some Pete in action here. With Alice, Improvise, Panic, Ray, Pain, Develop Your Brain, and Mickey Mouse. It sounds like a Pain into Panic type of line. Which means Mickey Mouse isn't going to see play in time, so we'll send it back. We find a Gramma Tala. That is fine. I think one of our cantrips is going to go to the ink pile. Probably Improvise first. Let's see what we can draw. Let's develop our brain. Find Mother Knows Best and let it go. I'll take the Inkable. Opponent plays Captain Hook. Alright, we'll ink let it go. Go for Pain. Probably should have inked the Gramma Tala in retrospect. Oh well, there's always next turn. Tinkerbell. Ooh, Robin. King of Pings. So a ping from Robin and attack from Captain Hook. Pain actually gets into a bit of trouble here. I do have to play Panic. Could use it to take out Captain Hook. Or I can use Improvise. Go Improvise Gramma Tala, keeping Pain for next turn. Actually, I like that line. Just Improvise, giving it +1 power. And that's what it's made to do. It's made to improvise. Taking out Hook. I need something to ink. Let's ink the Let It Go. We do have a Mother Knows Best. And we've just gotten a good combat. Here comes the Gramma of Doom. You can ping it, Robin. Got no problem against that. Ooh, a Beast Pinger. And Tinkerbell. Gramma Tala becomes ink when she dies, or whenever she's banished. Quite a nice ability. One quests with Robin, which means that Gramma Tala lives to tell the tale. I do have to be careful about our opponent shifting a big tink here. I don't really need that Mickey Mouse, so that's going to be ink number 4. And Alice doesn't do quite enough here. So I think we have to go Panic. Now do we want to pump to take out Robin? I think we do. So I'm going to go and pump Gramma Tala. Send her on a sacrificial mission against that Robin Hood. Thanks to Panic's ability. These little stats boost combat tricks are turning out to be quite useful this game. And I'm not going to quest. I don't want to give a shifted Tinkerbell the ability to wipe my board. That would be too damaging. Underworld Imp. Panic. Okay, here comes the shifted Tinkerbell. Double ping, but no combat. Wombo combo magic. Not letting you do that. Now we're on 5. Tempted to sync Mother Knows Best, sending that Tinkerbell back and just deploying Ray. Then with Alice, Ray can start boosting Pain. Panic still quests for quite a bit. I'd like to deploy a bit more ink, but I don't think I can afford it now. So, Panic, don't panic, just bounce these fairies back where they belong. We'll deploy our Ray and we'll quest for one. After all, Mother Knows Best. Isn't that right, Alice? Tinkerbell gets used as ink. I would have preferred a harder removal, but we are playing Sapphire Emerald. Oh, and it's the Big Beast. Most expensive card of the set. Showing up for our opponent. Alright. So, unless we deal damage to it, our opponent's going to get to draw a card. Could ink Alice, deploy John Silver, then quest with the squad, but I am interested in using Alice's ability. Allows for nice trades here. So I think I'm just going to play Alice. Go to quest with Ray. Ray's support will boost Pain. Panic's going to quest. Panic support will boost Pain. Pain now has more than 5 power, which means he quests for 3. And he can give all that power right back to Alice, which can't do anything with it. Now the question is, do we ink that John Silver? And then go for a next turn Hades? Or do we keep it and then we ink and we go for John Silver and hope for another inkable for Hades? I think we keep the John Silver. Feels like a strong character to have in this particular position. Let the storm rage on. Opponent's tired of pain. 2 damage and drawing a card. Simple, straightforward, and effective. Our opponent does outcard us quite a bit. 5-2 in terms of cards in hand. Benja. Alright. And Beast can take out Panic. As it should. Find a Ratigan. I do not want Ratigan in this matchup. Opponent has too many pings. So it's prime inking target, which allows us to deploy John Silver. Benja, you shall not quest. Ray shall quest. I'll give the support to Alice. So Alice now has 4 power, which allows us to take out Beast. And we live. Beast's power boost is only during our opponent's turn. So Alice became huge and took down the Beast. Makes sense, right? Benja unfortunately takes out our Growing Girl, which ends our Wombo combo potential. Enchantress. One's going much lower to the ground, and a Beast. Find another inkable, which is going to allow us to get rid of that Beast. You can have a bit of ink for it. And now, Enchantress, you're going to have to attack as a 1-1. Not what you were hoping for. As Ray quests, bringing us on the edge of the victory. 17-2. Opponent has to sacrifice the Enchantress. John Silver just feels good to play. One's trying to take it out. Whole new world. That's not going to do it. And let the storm rage on. Act of desperation. Opponent takes out John Silver out of spite. And that will be game. As the opponent concedes, because Ray's just going to quest for victory. That was fun. I hope that you've enjoyed this video featuring Alice and Pete doing some pretty cool stuff. Now, looking back at the games, and in all honesty, this deck doesn't feel that great. The main problem is once you've activated these high questing abilities and these combo-ish pieces, you're stuck with very weak characters on board. Pain just has that 1 power, Alice just has that 1 power, and even Pete sitting at the 5-drop with his 3 power is a bit weak. We really need a stats boost to live throughout our opponent's turn so that they can't punish us through a counterattack. And we're not able to set up a board large enough to just win all in one turn. Now the combo does allow you to quest quite a bit. And I must say, Alice has been doing quite good in the games, just allowing the other characters to support each other, allowing you to get good combats out of some of these weaker characters, while questing with some of the more high-powered characters. And Alice can just, by herself, be a great finisher. The problem comes more with Pete. Pete, as a 3-4 quest for 4, just doesn't do quite enough. Even with the ward, he feels short of Cusco, who punishes the attacker with his ability to banish the attacking character. So Pete was a bit disappointing, I must say, in this deck. With the new cantrips, Mickey Mouse Artful Rogue feels like he's gotten a bit of a second breath of life here, and might actually be playable. If we take out the Pete, a bit of the combo, and build more around the Artful Rogue just being a beater, kind of last time I did it with the first chapter, add in the cantrips to the deck, and suddenly he becomes a bit more potent. The ramping's great, as it is in most decks, but the actual synergy felt a little bit weak, mostly because we're leaving ourselves so vulnerable in the backswing. I hope you still had a great time experimenting with Alice and Pete and watching my video and the deck list. Still a fun deck list to try if you want to do some shenanigans and gain a bunch of lore, surprise the opponent, and support your characters. Speaking of support, don't forget to hit that like button to support the channel, subscribe, and leave a comment below telling me what you thought about this video. Do you want to see more videos where the decks just don't do as well? Or would you like me to just censor off all of the bad games and all of the bad stuff that's happening and tell you that this deck is awesome, even though that's not true? I try to put stamps of goodness on decks that I really think are good, and for the other ones, well, it's nice to experiment, it's nice to try cool things. If it's not good, well, it can still be fun. Again, hope you've had a great time, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.